Hello there, you just landed on the page of the Asset Protector. Today I want to clarify the difference between a 401k and a traditional index annuity. And we're going to be talking about a fixed index annuity. When you're dealing with a fixed index annuity, then we know that the index, the interest on it is fixed. So if it's at 8%, that's what it is. If it goes up and it has a cap of 13%, it'll pay you up to 13%. When the cap goes back down, then it goes back down and you're participating that way. So your participation rate has a factor of that as well. So you may have 140% participation rate, right? And at 8%. So all of those things play an important factor. But today I'm not talking about participation rate in this one. I can give you the breakdown in one of my upcoming videos. I've also shared that already in past videos. But I want to do an outlay of the difference in apples to apples comparison, so to speak, on how each of these work. So on a 401k, and I went ahead and took the liberty to pre-write this just for the sake of saving time in the video. Typically, ordinarily, I like to write as I talk, but I'll just slow down and explain it. It's already prefabricated. So, in a 401k, for example, who can get a 401k plan? A 401k is offered through an employer. So it's an employer-employee contract. This agreement. All right. What is the purpose of the 401k? The same as the annuity. The purpose is to grow your money so that later on in life you could get that money in retirement, and if you need to borrow money from yourself, you can do that along the way. So for some unforeseen reasons, maybe you decide to purchase a home, or if a child is getting married, or you get married. And if you are, then congratulations. But for whatever you need that money for, you want to start a business, then you're able to save that money up and pull some of that money out to help you in your time of need. Now, in a 401k, only an employee and employer, that's what this is. In an annuity, anyone can get an annuity, whether you're a self-employed business owner or whether you're just an individual and you want to diversify your portfolio, then you'll be able to put money into an annuity and pull that money out as well as you need to. Tax treatment. Now, here's one of the big differences here. Now, you are pre-tax, and that means your tax is growing deferred. So your money has not been taxed yet, and you're paying taxes on the taxes, so to speak. So you're paying money on your growth, and that's not what you want to do. Whereas over here is after-tax earnings. So basically, this is money that you're taking out of your bank account. You've already been paid in your paycheck, direct deposit or whatever, and now you're paying money directly from your bank account perhaps, or whatever means that it's already been after tax, and use that money and funnel it into your annuity. Okay, an annuity can be qualified or non-qualified. What does that mean? Well, a qualified would be like a 401k, for example, is going to be a qualified. Qualified means, again, pre-tax dollars. And that means government favored. And anything that the government favors is what you don't want, because the government is out for themselves, not trying to help you at all. As opposed to in a fixed index annuity, you can get either qualified or non-qualified. So let's say that you're a person who is a very high income earner and you need to offset your taxes, and you're going to have to pay taxes anyway, then this would work in a case where you want to offset your taxes to get a qualified. But if you, like, say you're a school teacher, a firefighter, right? Or if you're an insurance business or something like that, and you're a little bit more frugal, not stingy, but frugal and more careful about how you handle your money, then you may want a non-qualified, okay? Because this money is after tax. And so that means your money grows tax deferred. Contribution limits. Now, in a 401k, you can contribute up to $23,000 per year. And if you're 50 years plus in age, then you can do an additional 7,500 to catch up, right? And that means that basically you're older in life and you didn't plan. And so this gives you an opportunity to put up 30,500 for 50 plus. And whereas in an annuity, you can put as much as you want to put. You want to put in 10,000, which is what I recommend. The starting point is at 10,000. I don't like to talk to people with less than 10,000, especially if you're over 30 or 40 years old. Here's why: because the money needs to have time to grow, to appreciate, to accrue, and grow in interest. So you can go with no limit here. That means you can start at 10,000 if you're talking to me, or if you want to start at 10 million, it's up to you. Okay, and it's like sort of like the microwave thing. You set it and forget it. You know how you put your popcorn in the microwave, and then you just set it for however long that the popcorn package tells you, and then you can walk away and do your thing. Right. So similar to that. Now I know sometimes with popcorn you have to stay there because it don't work right, but that is the best example I could think of. Or like your washing machine. You put your clothes in the washing machine, you set it, and then when it beeps or buzzes, you know that the cycle is complete. So we'll strike the popcorn, because I know popcorn will burn up depending on the microwave. Employee matching. Now here, this is an employer-employee contract, and therefore some companies will match dollar for dollar, or so much of the dollar, or maybe they may do 30 cents on the dollar. And if your company offers a 401k plan and they offers anything on that, then if it were me in that situation, I would definitely take advantage of it. Here is why I would take advantage. Is because when you're dealing with your portfolio, you want to diversify your money. Let me say that again. When you got your portfolio, you want to diversify your money, which means put a little bit over here, a little bit over there, a little bit over. Most professionals will tell you to have between 5 and 8 streams or channels of income that's making you money. So whether you got real estate, your job, life insurance like an IUL, whether you have an annuity, whether you have a CD, right? Or whether you're putting your money into the stock market directly, right? All of these things are different, that's 5 that I just listed, different avenues of revenue that's pointing towards your bank account. And when you look at that, by the time you retire, especially with your Social Security, right? Then you add all those up, you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different channels of income where you're getting 3,000 over here, 5,000 over here, 10,000 over there, 400 over here, 1,700 over. And when you add that all up, then you are able to now maintain the same level of living and comfort that you're doing now, and probably even better, because your house is probably going to be paid for, right? Your car is probably paid for, and many major purchases are already paid for. Your credit is paid down, and so now you have all of this money coming, and so that's the way you plan retirement, instead of just landing in retirement and floating like a feather in the wind, just being pushed according to how the wind blows. No, what you want to do is you want to plan your life for a perpetual future. Okay? All right. Now, market risk. In a 401k, mutual funds, there's going to be market risk either way. Okay? Here, in a variable, you have risk, but in a fixed index annuity, you will not. But in a variable, you will have risk. Both of these, you're going to have risk, right? But the risk is minimal on this side. So you're coming out with a best tax advantage. So, like I said, the sky's the limit on your contributions over here. So these are the 3 takeaways here. No, the contribution, no limit. The sky's the limit. And then in your tax treatment, you have the option to do non-qualified or qualified. That's up to you and what works based on your unique situation. And then, of course, the market risk. Over here, you have less market risk over here. And so over here, the option, basically you will get a risk when you're taking out money. It depends on your age, right? So if you're 59 and a half, then you good. You're 60 years old, you good. You're 58 years old, then you're going to have that 10% that's going to be coming. But over here, this is going to be your best way every time because one is non-qualified or qualified. Number two, you have a 10% penalty, which is going to be on both of these, but the 10% penalty, you have a 10% penalty free withdrawal over here. Here you got a 10%, but over here, this is much better because you have a 10% free withdrawal, okay? 10% free withdrawal, free withdrawal, free withdrawal. As opposed to over here, you're gonna have that surrender fee. All right? Also, when you put your money over into an annuity, you can control your money. What index it goes into. You want to go into the Russell 2000 or the Dow Jones, or you want to go into the S&P 500, Smith & Poor. So it's up to you where you want your money to go to. As opposed to over here in the 401k, your employer chooses all that. So, but you get to decide where your money goes over here. Now, if you're already employed and you already in one of these 401ks and you decide to borrow money from yourself, and then before you pay that money back, you get a job someplace else at another company, then what's going to happen is that you're going to have to pay, and you're already paying it back, but you're going to need to move that because when you leave that employer, you need to move your money to someplace else, and then you're going to incur a charge for that. You're gonna have to pay taxes on that. So just be concerned about that. You're gonna have to pay taxes on that money that you've already taken out, right? As opposed to over here, you own it and control it yourself, and you can move around the world and as many times you want to. Move around the world and I can find my baby. It's right in here, as opposed to you being chained and handcuffed here. This gives you a lot more freedom to move around the way you want to and control your money. All right? With that being said, that pretty much concludes my time. I appreciate you for listening to this video. I hope that it has added value to you. If it has added value to you, go ahead and hit that like button. And subscribe too for more videos of this sort. All right? See you on the next video. Take care of yourself and each other. Peace.